All right, everybody, welcome back to the 546 Project Presents 30 Minutes or Less. Kind of an impromptu podcast tonight. We had an opportunity to get most of the band together. We're minus one guy tonight. Jason had a previous engagement. But
even though he said, I can tonight, but apparently he did that wrong, and it was I can't tonight in the text.
Yeah, yes, please make sure, people, that you are indeed checking your text messages before you send them off. Because 6 hours later, you can find out that somebody is not going to join you like they thought.
Always proofread those text messages, folks. I, in the past, almost sent a girl a text message that asked if she was ready to get Raw tonight instead of ready to watch Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, you could see how that could damage a budding friendship. But luckily, I proofread my text and laughed about it and then sent the appropriate text. So,
what would have happened had you sent the one about ready to get Raw tonight?
Well, considering that at the time I was attached and she wasn't, it could have became a very sticky situation. I don't know. We'll always wonder.
Sticky,
I guess
but not
that's
in
one.
the good,
Yeah, that's one
the good
opinion.
sense of the word. You know,
you know what? I'm not going to speak. Hey, who knows? Something totally different could have jumped off. I might not be here right now.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, maybe less than that. But regardless, yeah, folks, please double check those text messages before they get sent out. But it's a shame that Jason couldn't be with us because we got to try a really cool restaurant tonight. We're always trying to bring you different places to go eat. If y'all can't tell, we love food. But we got to check out, and I know I'm going to botch the name, but it is the 0 to 60 Energy Cafe.
That is correct.
Did I get that right?
In Winchester, Virginia.
Not only a whole new state.
Yeah, this is the first time the 546 has gone to the state of Virginia to eat anywhere. We
are blazing trails and setting new pathways all the time, folks. But this was a really cool place. I really enjoyed this. They are basically all about various grilled cheeses and donuts.
And, it's a cafe as well.
They have a lot of coffee drinks and smoothies as well.
It's interesting because they have the cafe there, and then next to it is a gym.
Yeah.
And you can enter the cafe through the gym. And I believe since they have, like, smoothies
and paninis and coffees.
It's kind of in that vein.
And honestly, and this is all in a good way, but after you eat there, you kind of feel like maybe you should go to the gym.
Well, I mean, that's what we decided to eat.
You have high energy coming in, and then you fill yourself so much with food, you have very low energy.
Perfect place to go to carbo load.
I mean, I have pretty high energy. I'm still kind of hungry myself, but I mean,
I am filled to capacity. But they have a lot of different grilled cheeses, and especially a lot of cheeses, period. But I personally had what they called the no cheese, which is basically like the best of a plate of nachos in between two pieces of bread. This thing was amazing.
Yes. It was. We all tried that, and I absolutely loved it. It tasted just like a taco salad, in a grilled cheese.
Had that coupled with some chicken and sausage gumbo. Trust me, I walked out of there happy. That's for sure. They were a nice size too. Did you guys notice that the portion size? I mean, it was a big sandwich.
Yeah, they were pretty decent size. The sandwich at the end of the meal that Nathan and I split on the ciabatta bread was the barbecue. It was the pork barbecue.
I think it's called the crispy pig.
Is what they call it. No, yeah, it's something like the crispy pig or something. It was bacon, barbecue, potato chips, your choice of 3 cheeses, and I still had some of my tomato basil soup left over for it as well. We got that on ciabatta, and it was great. On all the sandwiches, you get to choose 3 different types of cheese, so to whichever's to your liking. My sandwich that I got for dinner was a macaroni and cheese grilled cheese sandwich. That I got American cheddar and provolone on with the tomato basil soup and a can of Coca-Cola. They do not have a traditional fountain. They do a lot, like we said, the smoothies and the coffee. Then they just have like a few selections of canned drinks.
Sprite Zero. I was kind of surprised to see that. You don't see that everywhere.
No, but with the gym next door once again.
Makes sense. I was happy. I've been on a Sprite kick lately anyway.
Like macaroni and cheese in it?
Yes, it had actual macaroni and cheese pieces inside the grilled cheese, and it was great. I loved it. And
you actually got one. Yeah, I almost got the one you had.
The one that had mushroom and garlic, and then I had 3 cheeses. I had pepper jack, mozzarella, and Gouda. It was very good.
They have a really nice array of cheeses. You don't see Gouda and Munster on every menu. You don't see that in a lot of places.
Right. And speaking about the cheeses, let's go on to our desserts. It was a Fuji apple.
Donut.
It was what was the kind of cheese?
You had Fuji apple. It had Havarti cheese.
Havarti cheese.
And it had blue cheese.
Cheese crumbles on it. This was a grilled donut, which is their specialty dessert, and the guys didn't want any part of it. I wanted to try it because, we're not doing a food box for you all this evening, so this is kind of that opportunity, and I really liked it. I finished the entire donut. I thought it was good. It was nice and sweet, and honestly, I really liked it.
Yeah, it sounded like something in all seriousness that I wouldn't have touched with a 10-foot pole, but I took a bite of his, and the cheeses weren't very strong. I
think the blue cheese itself they put in it, it wasn't really a standard blue cheese like I would think of.
It wasn't as strong as I
No.
thought. I don't believe I've ever had Havarti cheese until tonight, and it's not a very strong.
Right.
It's not a strong. It's more of a milder cheese, so it actually made it. It was a lot better than what I thought. I went with a s'mores donut, which was basically your grilled donut with a great big marshmallow in it and chocolate. It was excellent.
And no one else can vouch for that because Dan didn't share.
Well, I didn't try the Oreo donut either, so I was hungry and it sounded good.
See, I was gonna give you some, but you said you didn't.
You
want
declined.
Because
we never
I
even
was
got an
full.
offer for the s'mores. Yeah, no wonder, because you ate the whole s'mores grilled donut.
Yeah, that's
you didn't
right.
share.
We would have had a different a different thing to talk about had I tried everything, because I was filled to capacity. But I definitely give them 2 thumbs up. I look forward to going back there. I think it's something Carrie's really going to enjoy more than she thinks she will.
If I had one downside to this place, I think the soup that you got, they give you a big bowl, and it doesn't seem like they give you a lot of soup in the bowl.
I mean,
not to say it wasn't good. It was very good.
The soup was
but
delicious.
It just
it was put up about halfway. I mean, that's kind of what I expect.
I honestly didn't want a lot of soup, so I mean, I was kind of hoping it wasn't.
I think for a $5 bowl of soup is what Nathan's getting at.
If you're going to get a bowl of soup that big, it needs to be filled pretty much the whole.
It's either that or make the bowl smaller. So therefore,
yeah.
You're still given the same portion, but it appears larger.
Just by going by the eye test, it didn't pass because it was too big.
It's already coming out half full or half empty, depending on how you look at it. But we skipped your dessert.
Yeah, I had the Oreo donut. It was an Oreo cream cheese cheesecake filling donut, and it was very good.
Yes, it was. I got to try some of this because Nathan is a good friend and he shares. But to go back to touch on the whole soup thing, that's something that I know that I've embargoed places in the past for, per se. I had the issue with the fast food restaurants with not filling their fries up to capacity.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier today.
Right.
Yeah.
If your fry pod is this big, you should have that many fries in there. It should appear like it does in the picture on the board where fries are coming out the top. When you go to McDonald's and you get a large fry and they fill it to where you can't even see it, where the lip dips down, that's a fucking problem. That is bullshit. And I called shenanigans on it. And I didn't eat at McDonald's for 2 years?
At least.
Because of it?
It almost puts you in
mind.
mind.
We made a whole team based on...
We did make a whole entire team.
It almost puts you in mind that when you go to the stores now and you buy the family-sized bag of chips, and really more than a third of the bag is...
Now, that does not bother me because listed on the bag of potato chips, it lists how many ounces you're getting. So it doesn't matter how much is filled with air and how much is not.
It's just a
when you
deceiving
go
look,
to McDonald's and you're supposed to get, 7 ounces for a large fry and you get 4.5, that's bullshit. You're getting 9.5 ounces in a 9.5 ounce bag, no matter how big it is.
Nobody listening to this knows already that you have a scale that you weigh the fries.
Correct.
Unfortunately, apparently we had a death. He said the scale died.
Yeah, the scale is no longer with us, but that's I had mentioned it earlier because when my niece and I went out to Wendy's last week, I upsized my chicken tender meal to a large, and she got a medium, I believe. or I did a medium and she did a small, and it was like the same amount of fries. Like, that's bullshit. Usually, Wendy's was actually the best per fry ratio per what you're paying for, because they were always consistent, like between 5 and 7 ounces on their large. McDonald's was all over the place. Not worth the money.
Doesn't hurt that Wendy's fries are also phenomenal.
You know what's sad? I think they did away with like the Biggie fries and the Biggie drinks,
but they made all the larges.
They just renamed it, right?
Size, yes. If you go to McDonald's now, a current small was the medium, the current medium was the large, and the current large was the extra large.
They're trying to get it in your head. It's basically when they took away the word supersize and all that.
But they're still giving us the same portions.
America's gotten out of hand, folks.
You know what they should do?
You know what they should do?
They should give you an option for a child-sized, like, Parks and Recreation. Where it was a 512-ounce soda.
Yes. Speaking of Parks and Rec, that is just a great show. We might have to cover something about that with, like, favorite comedies on a future podcast.
I have not had a chance to check that out. I was aware of it. I saw the ads for it. I never did watch it.
I have all of them on DVD now. So
that was on the last I did see that on Amazon not too long ago, and it was a steal for the complete series.
Now it was up, like the last time I checked, it was back up to like $45.
Oh, okay. Because
at the time when I got it, it was like $17. So I had to jump on it then.
Right. But Parks and Rec is fantastic. What else do we had to go over? I know I wanted to share something that happened from this past week. I was fortunate enough to have Brad Twigg and his film crew come over to my house to film some scenes for their upcoming movie, WrestleMassacre. That was a great experience. This is now the second independent film crew that I've gotten to work with, working on White Doomsday with Lombardo and his crew. It was nice to be a part of that. They were thankful for me opening up my home to them. And, it's just one of those things that I just wanted to be able for them to shoot what they wanted to. I'm very supportive of artists and, the things they want to do. So it's very, very interesting to me to be able to watch a director and, his friends just bring this story to life right in front of me. So, but that was probably about the most fun thing that's happened in the last week of my life.
There was wrestling in this house.
There was wrestling in this house, Grandma.
That's right.
So, but yeah, it's they're currently doing a GoFundMe on Indiegogo, I believe is the website they do that on. So if you check them out on their Facebook page, it's definitely worth it, and I highly recommend it. There's some chance to get some props for things that certain denominations you donate and stuff. So I highly recommend checking them out.
I look forward to seeing the finished product once it all comes
like the other thing they were talking about is there's a whole bunch of wrestlers that are going to be in this movie. So even though, I know gore is not really your thing, Nathan, but like Kevin Sullivan is playing the devil in it. Tony Atlas is in it. Like, all these old wrestlers are a part of this movie.
Psycho Sid, is he in it?
No, Psycho Sid, to my knowledge, is not. But if you guys could get Sid, that would be fucking awesome.
That would just be the icing on the cake for him.
Yes. Right there. So, yeah, that would be fantastic. But they listed a whole bunch of guys that were going to be in the movie. So, but I believe on their Facebook page they have those names listed. So
they should have Brutus Beefcake in it, and he play every character that he played over the years, because it was like 20 different ones.
Anybody know when that book comes out yet? I think we mentioned that he has a book coming out where he's supposed to expose the hell out of Hulk Hogan.
No, because honestly, after we talked about it last time, I had no desire to ever think about it again.
I would definitely like to read the book. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see at least see what he's got to say. I think it'd be very.
I think there's plenty of other books on my TBR pile.
Oh, I'm sure.
How much do you think a haircut from Brutus Beefcake would cost?
I'm sure there are other ways you can pay him if you catch my drift. If you've ever followed the career and out of the ring exploits of Brutus Beefcake, I'm sure you could come by a haircut pretty easily. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what else?
Boom! Drop the mic.
Yeah.
No, we talked about an interesting list that we wanted to discuss here. Kevin and I were engaging in some classic video game play earlier before Nathan got here, and we decided to kind of roundtable some of our favorite classic video games.
Okay. Nathan?
Doesn't matter what system. Can be some newer games if you like, but some of your all-time favorite games.
But no offense, I get bored by newer games. So just saying.
I always liked the sports games because I'm a sports fan. My favorite games to play, like the classic games.
Major League Baseball for original Nintendo.
No, that was one of the worst.
Come on, I love that game.
That game is garbage.
That game is not garbage. It was the best baseball game on Nintendo.
I think we're throwing best.
I'd rather play Pong, I think.
Hey, I had Pong over there on the Atari. What did I say? That was like 8th edition that I got from my coworker, Kiri.
Is it the Flash?
Yeah, it's the whatever the fuck
we
it's
can't
called.
get it right, but
it just has a whole bunch of fucking games on it.
I think
Pong
we're playing.
is one of them.
I think we're playing fast and loose with great. Personally, Little League baseball, and this isn't in my list, but as far as baseball games for regular Nintendo, Little League Baseball, Legends of the Diamond, Baseball Simulator 2000,
and none of those come close to Major League Baseball. None.
Yeah, right.
None.
Okay, so Nathan,
none.
any others?
None of those fucking games.
Any others, Nathan?
Now,
any others?
I
You
mean,
didn't even get the chance.
I have like a classic ones that I like.
Okay.
I like Tecmo Super Bowl for the NES.
I'll give you that.
Game.
That was one of the first ones, wasn't it?
There was a really underrated game that I rented a lot as a kid from like A to Z Video.
Okay. A to Z Video, missed that place.
Also,
it was called
a big 10-yard fight.
It was called Dusty Diamonds All-Star Softball, and you could pick your own team from this. Like they were made up characters, but they had just these different characters you could pick, like a team of 10, and you had fast pitch and slow pitch, and some of these characters could like float in the air. You
don't like Major League Baseball, but you like something with floating in the fucking air.
The thing is, Major League Baseball is supposed to be real. That doesn't represent Major League Baseball.
Well, I mean,
floating in the air
when you were pitching me this softball game, I was expecting that to be real. And then you're talking about them fucking floating in the goddamn air.
You have to play it. It's a good game.
I said, I was a fan of Baseball Simulator 2000, and that was kind of out there as far as some of the effects. But no, okay, I'm not familiar with that softball game at all. I don't remember that one whatsoever.
So what are some more?
Like, I mean, if you're looking at the NES era, Super Mario 3 was my favorite of the Super Mario collection. If I'm going even like later into like the PlayStation and PlayStation 2, the SmackDown Here Comes the Pain was probably the best one that I had. I think that was the one where we would create characters of ourselves, and that's the one where I created you guys, and you guys fought each other like about 8 or 9 times.
Much like mirroring real life, we couldn't stop fighting each other. It was ridiculous.
Okay, so any more?
I mean, if we're looking at the newer games,
then we're sticking to classic this week.
No, I'm just going by every ones that I play that I know. I like the Grand Theft Auto series. I think they're really in depth. But yeah, those are my favorite types of games. And then like the Mario Karts, I like them too.
Right. Dan?
Okay, classic games. Let's see. I'm going back to the NES era. I was a big fan of all things Mega Man. Mega Man 2, probably one of my absolute favorite games. Really enjoyed that one. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, or Punch-Out, based on the era of when you played the game.
With Mr. Dream.
Yes, with Mr. Dream. Again, all depending on Mike Tyson's out-of-the-ring exploits. But
you know, the interesting thing about that was that's not why they it ended?
No, actually, a lot of it's a misconception. I believe just his
The contract ran out. That's it.
Yeah, they didn't renew the contract.
I'm sure that didn't help.
When that happened, yeah, they weren't exactly going to beat his door down to slap his name back on the game. But no, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time on that one. Underrated game a lot of people probably don't remember was one called Asternax.
Okay.
I
remember that.
What I liked about it, as I've told Joel out here a lot before, I am, now blind, but at one time visually impaired. The characters, it was a lot of the graphics, although it was very large. The characters were big on the screen and all that, so it was really easy for me to play. Had a lot of fun with that one. I'm trying to think more for Super Nintendo era. Super Punch-Out, the predecessor to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. A lot of fun, but my favorite for Super NES was, of course, Killer Instinct, like we were playing earlier.
Yes. Killer Instinct is one of my personal favorites for that system.
Most people were Mortal Kombat fans. Most people were all about Mortal Kombat. I always liked Killer Instinct over that.
Agreed. I definitely like Killer Instinct more.
It's actually cool to see that franchise is still alive. I believe Xbox has it now, I believe.
And don't forget about the kick-ass soundtrack that we used to use for...
Backyard wrestling themes. Absolutely.
YCW days.
The Killer Cuts soundtrack. The Killer Cuts soundtrack. I can't remember how many tracks it had, but it was really cool. I still listen to that occasionally. So good stuff there. But those were some of mine overall.
Okay. In mine, I probably have a pretty decent list put together. I do not play video games anymore. The latest model system I have in my basement right now is a PlayStation 2. I don't really own any PlayStation 2 games. It's pretty much strictly for the original PS1 that I use that for. I also have my Nintendo 64 hooked up, my Retron, and my Sega Genesis with the 32X and Sega CD hooked up to it. Going back to Nintendo to touch on it, Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3. I absolutely love. I actually have a Mario tattoo from number 3, the raccoon Mario on the back of my arm.
Mario 2 was so great. It was
Mario
so
2 was
a
different game.
Different from everything else.
So I always loved those two. Jaws is another one of my favorite games for Nintendo. And then on to like Super Nintendo, Mario Kart, Super Mario World, Killer Instinct, Royal Rumble. That was one of my favorite wrestling games growing up.
That was a great game.
And I have Sunset Riders is a game that not too many people know of, I guess. But apparently it became a pop...
I was going to say enough to be a cult classic.
It's a cult classic now. Like it's like $55 to buy a cartridge from a game shop right now. But Sunset Riders was great. Sega Genesis growing up, Sonic 2 is my favorite game for that system. Along with that, I used to play a lot of sports games growing up. World Series Baseball for Sega Genesis was a favorite of mine. NFL 95 is my favorite football game. I'd say across any system. NFL Blitz is right behind that.
Oh, we left out a classic.
But,
yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball.
Yes, Ken Griffey Jr.
for Super Nintendo.
Major League Baseball for Super
apologize.
Nintendo is up there at the top of the list.
Also one of my favorites.
And as Nathan, who I think was going to go somewhere with the NFL 95 thing, refuses to play me when I am the Pittsburgh Steelers because there's a glitch in the game. If you select the Pittsburgh Steelers, go down in the depth chart, and put Jim Miller in as your quarterback, if you run him out in the route and make him dive for forward progress, he'll slide for like 10 yards and then get up, and you can just keep on doing it again. Like, he's just unstoppable. He is. He's like Superman.
Nothing like taking advantage of a glitch and outdated technology.
Right.
That's fantastic.
So,
I was going to bring up, because I forgot this one, NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
NBA Jam TE, yeah, agreed with NFL Blitz. Mm-hmm. Those games are great. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, another Konami game, making the list. They did Sunset Riders as well. My favorite game...
I like Blades of Steel. That was a Konami game, too.
My favorite game for Sega CD was Terminator for Sega CD.
Another great soundtrack without even trying.
Yes, it was. That I think that was actually, I think if you look up that game on like its Wikipedia page, it talks about how I think it's like the first video game to use like actual real music or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know I read something along those lines. But we used that for Backyard Wrestling theme music as well. Growing up,
it's actually your ringtone on my phone.
Right.
So Future Shock, I believe it's called.
Yep. And of course, Nintendo 64, one of the greatest systems ever. GoldenEye, which, you know, if anyone out there wants to challenge me to 2-player games, please, by all means, comment below, because it is very difficult to find anyone who can hang with me in GoldenEye. And I'm not saying that to make myself sound like amazing, but it's just the God's honest truth.
Anybody wants to play them, we'll put you on a future edition of the podcast, and we can talk about it. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
So, but you know, that's pretty much Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the first one for PlayStation. That was, you know, that and GoldenEye are my 2 games that I'm the best at. Like, there's no other games that I can play as well as those 2. Because like I said, I'm not really a gamer, but I spent countless hours playing those 2 games. So, but it's pretty much for me. I know I'm missing some great games out there.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'll think
some
of
honorable mentions.
The Legend of Zelda franchise, especially for the original Zelda game. I know they've done so much with it since then, but I could have sat and played the original Zelda for hours. Actually, I did. Loved that game.
I forgot. I left 32X out of this. My favorite game for 32X was Virtual Fighter. I really love that game. They had Doom for 32X as well, which was good. I'm trying to look at all my video games.
I see the 32X right over there.
Yep, it's plugged in right now.
They didn't make a lot
Sonic
of games
2
for that,
plugged
did
into
they?
it. No.
I think that kind of like, I don't know, do you think it was like ahead of its time?
No,
Is that ahead of
Dreamcast
Sega
came
CD?
out
No, it was
at
with
the
Sega. Well, the Sega Saturn came out like. Only
Was
like
it
a few
Saturn
months
or
after.
Dreamcast?
No, Dreamcast would have been the one
Dreamcast was
after.
later. That came
Okay,
out
so it was
in the
Sega
90s.
Saturn that kind of ran into the production of the 32X to where it came out and pretty much around the same time.
Right.
And so they stopped making games after a certain amount. The 32X was it was nice. I mean, 32 gig system, but the add-ons for the Sega Genesis were such a pain in the ass.
There was a rumor also with the 32X that it ruined your games.
I mean,
you don't.
I've had
you
a
may not-
32X forever, and it's never damaged any of my games. I remember when I was rebuying the 32X, the guys at Cartridges Galore, not the guys, one guy argued with me that I didn't need a wire. I had a 32X growing up. I know I needed one. So when I brought it home, I actually have this video on my Facebook page, I believe, where I'm playing the game, Virtual Fighter loads, and you can hear the guys fighting, but they're not on the screen. Like, you can't see them at all.
Because you need the wire
You need
to connect.
the wire to connect.
There's like
for the visuals.
There's three different wires you need to connect.
Correct. So, and then I had to go back out there and tell them, yeah, so I need that wire that, I told you I needed.
Yeah, it's bad when you go to a video game store and they don't know what they're talking about.
Right. I really miss Back to the Media because, I just never found them too personable in their Cartridges Galore. And, for me, that goes a long way. I will give my business to the people who I feel like actually want my business and actually care that you walk through the door.
The couple of times I went in there with you to Back to the Media, they were really cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool place.
They're not. Are they around? Still?
Chambersburg.
They went back
They're
to the mall,
in
Chambersburg Mall
Chambersburg.
because I know they moved out of there.
I think they relocated.
But they moved back.
I know
and
they were in the
guess
Chambersburg area the last time because that's where I found my Sega CD game, the Terminator. I
At
was
this
looking
point,
for.
with that mall out there, they're probably the store that does the most business.
Probably just cleaning up right now.
But kudos to Back to the Media and Cartridges Galore. If I absolutely necessarily have to buy something from there, I guess I will. But I try to avoid that place at all costs.
That's one of the things that really grinds my gears. And not just video games, but any time you go into a place and they act like they know more than you. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
I can't stand it. I don't like to be made to feel like to be belittled in a store where I go to buy something. It really aggravates me.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I have to totally agree.
That time when I went to GameStop and the guy that sold me the same game I wanted to return, but I didn't have the receipt.
Would not take it back because he sold it to him, but yet he was not budging without that receipt. Walked out of there unhappy that day. He was not budging.
Yeah.
Well, we're winding down here. Have about 12 seconds left. So I want to thank everybody for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this evening's podcast.
You can catch us on the usual forms of social media. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye.